to the 2023 verdicts, and you're watching us live from Nigeria, wherever you are in any part of the world. As you've seen in that welcoming slide, the Director General of Obi Datti Campaign Council joins us next, Mr. Akin Oshutokun. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chambale.
How is this campaign going on now?
Okay.
Of course. How is it going at the moment? Because I know that the team has arrived Lagos ahead of the mega rally as you target for Saturday morning.
Well, it's going on well. As well, we wish it could have gone better, but it's going on relatively well. And the unique thing about this season is that the choices before the electorate have never been sharper. It's like what we have in Nigeria today is like a contrast of we are hearing the sound of a death throw, and you are hearing the sound of a bat pang, right? So it's left for Nigeria to choose either. You can choose the death throws in which Nigeria go into extinction, or you can choose the birth of a new baby, which our presidential ticket comprises of. The other two tickets started out by being a threat to the national unity and integration of Nigeria. And let us keep that in mind. What brought Nigeria to where we are today is that sort of fundamental political mismanagement against the background of what this country has witnessed in the past 7 years. Now you have a ticket that negates the very principle on which stability, unity is predicated. And I'm talking about the PDP ticket. An arrangement that there was a prior arrangement of power rotation between the North and South, whose main objective is national unity. And then you now have a candidate deliberately going against that. What does that represent? So that ticket is starting out being a threat, to the peace and stability of Nigeria. The other one, again, against the background of what we have witnessed in the clashes, cleavages all over Nigeria in the past 7 years. How can a presidential ticket now go for the same faith ticket, Muslim ticket? Look, how do you want the Christians to feel? I mean, it is not party elections are not supposed to be predicated on religion. But fair is fair. Nigerians, we have to acknowledge our diversity, which should be something good for us. Unity in diversity. But recognize that diversity in any decision you want to present, in any decision you want to take. You don't then, deep-pull, what is wrong with that diversity.
So, what can you say, or what would you say is your party's path to victory? Because, are you going to rely on young people who will not all vote for your party, or undecided voters who can decide on that day to vote for other people? Because, election day dynamics are completely different.
Listen, Chamberlain, the basis for the choice of which ticket you are going to support is starker than that, right? And I've told you, it's like a scripture that says this, that, look, my father laid a heavy yoke on you, but I will lay even more heavier yoke on you. My father scourged you with whips, I will scourge you with scorpion. That is the choice. What we are experiencing today, the currency crisis, the policy crisis, and the fuel scarcity, a government party is responsible for it. You expect an electorate, it's like God reminding you of the reasons, telling you that this is not the way to go.
Mr. Oshutoko, I find it interesting, excuse me, that you're using, I mean, when you talk about the other tickets, you talk about how they negate certain things and the threats to Nigeria's unity. Interestingly, your party has been sure to tick all of those political boxes. For instance, you have the candidacy, you have that of the presidential candidates from the south of the country, in fact, more importantly, southeast of the country, and you have a northern vice presidential candidate, and both of them are from separate religions. But your candidate has been very clear on why people should vote for him. He said that he doesn't even want us to look at those things. He wants to be elected strictly on merit. If that is the campaign that your candidate is running, shouldn't that be the basis upon which all the other candidates are assessed, regardless of where they're from or what religion, they profess?
The short answer to what you are saying is that those who came up with the convention of north-south rotation, that they are mindless, that they don't know what they are doing.
Is that what your candidate means when he says don't look at that?
I wouldn't lay emphasis, if I were in his position. I will not lay emphasis on that. It is those of us, it is my job, for instance, to give all the ramifications of this election to the electorate. What he says is as follows, right? It's right to be an Igbo man. I mean, he's proud. He's proud to be a Southeasterner, but he's even more proud to be a Nigerian. Now look, I'm a student of political science. There is a reason you have federal constitution. You have heard of the principle of federal character. All these things are predicated on the appreciation of our unity in diversity. If you don't want to follow that, if you say it is irrelevant, you might as well, those even picking there, you might as well pick your own image yourself from the same constituency, if that is the case. In his own case, there is no need for him to dwell on that. Right? He is competent in his own right. The idea that it comes from the southeast is a bonus. It reinforces, you got to have a country first before you can have a president or good governance. The truth of, as I said, is what we study. The group, the outstanding zone that you feel that has the right, that is entitled to feel more alienated from Nigeria after this election is the southeast. Others, well, maybe the north central because of the Muslim thing. Look, alienation, the plurality of you just cannot. But I mean, it is there. You don't want to dwell on, but when a ticket bank comes up deliberately to aggravate the problem that is on ground, deliberately, not inadvertent. There's no way, but as I said, I don't expect him to dwell on it, but it is left for those of us.
Can we learn Nigerian politics and political science in universities here?
Of course.
We can?
Go on what?
We can learn it. The politics you play in Nigeria, we can learn it in school, in Nigerian schools here?
Of course.
Oh,
listen,
okay.
Let me tell you something. There is something one of the things that excited me when I was called by President Obasanjo to come and lead his campaign in 2002. Well, look, I studied political science. There is a theory, there is a praxis. Right? When you study political science, right, I think the thing that can excite you the most is to be given the opportunity of translating theory to practice, to reality.
Okay.
So that is, there are papers, books being written on Nigeria as we speak.
Okay, I'll let my colleagues in Lagos translate whatever they want. I mean, they have the floor now. Go ahead, guys.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. Well, I'm going to stick with that for a little bit. Mr. Oshutoko, it'll be nice to find out exactly how that translation is going to be done, because you began by talking about some sentiments that have taken the forefront of these campaigns as opposed to the realities, the practicalities, the agendas, the issues that people should be talking about. I'm wondering how you think we can translate the sentiments in political science or rather, maybe I should be more specific like Jimmy, in Nigeria's political science to the practicality of governance? Because it would seem like sentiments have taken a lot more, always seem to take a lot more of our time in the elections as opposed to the functions, the issues that people, politicians in particular, need to pay attention to.
Well, you know, Nigeria, first and foremost, was given independence, was constituted on the basis of recognizing the reality of our of diversity. It is the reason why we have a federal constitution. All these things just didn't come by. It's a reasoned approach to how Nigeria can endure as a polity and stability. The reason we have federal constitution, I mean, even if you want to go back, which is deeper, you know, that of region is more. It's almost you know, a regionalist constitution. So the constitution itself, right, is a reflection of what I've been saying. It is not me. Then it goes on, right, to now tell you to prescribe in the constitution how you can apply the theories into practice. That is where you have federal character, federal principle, and things like that, so that you have that reflection of a big tent, a big family cohabiting together. Right? In Nigeria, why didn't those who framed the constitution, look, the four parties that more or less, you know, fostered the independent constitution, I don't think anybody knows Nigeria than those four entities. One is the British government itself, the colonial government. Second are the, you know, the first line of the nationalists, Ahmadu Bello, Azikiwe, and Awolowo. Right? Those are the four people that are most responsible for the constitution, for the independence constitution. And look at that constitution. What that constitution tells you is precisely what I've been saying all along.
Well, Mr. Chitoko,
look, this is a country that is diverse. Of course, you can use the negative factors of saying that they are disunited or what, but diversity is a neutral verb. This is a country that is diverse culturally, politically, socially. Now, if you want that country to endure, you have to reflect that diversity in the grand norm, in the constitution you are prescribing for that country that will ensure its stability, its peace and progress. All these questions that you are asking, you are suggesting as if the federalism was just in vain, that there was no context, you know, that suggests or recommends that we need to have stability. And as I said, look, you don't need to go that far. The crisis we are in, where did it arise? It is political mismanagement of the president.
Just one moment, Mr. Chitoko.
This is precisely what I'm telling you.
My apologies. Just to stick with the conversation around that diversity, that diversity that you're speaking to, I don't think there is any argument about our diversity. Every nation would say, I mean, there is one measure of diversity or the other, and you're speaking to those issues as well. However, it is not a question of the diversities here that I'm asking, but the question of the sentiments that influence decisions as opposed to the peculiar challenges that confront the people clustered in those diversities that you're talking about. We all have one common identity as Nigeria. We all have one common identity as a federal republic. But then the issues that we deal with, economic challenges, political challenges, social challenges, educational challenges, health challenges, they are all the same. They do not have colors, they don't have sentiments, they don't have religions. They are the reality of Nigerians. My question is around how we are unable to focus political campaigns generally on these things, but rather pander to sentiments.
You quite understand the point I was making. Not at all. First and foremost, not all societies are like Nigeria. The constitution we have is specifically prescribed, you know, by our diversity. Second is that I'm sure you must have heard this aphorism that Give us first the kingdom of the political kingdom, and all others will follow. There is no way you can get your constitution wrong and hope to build some. You can't build something on nothing. That is where you are getting it wrong. The constitution, the federalism that we are supposed to be practicing, is the basis on which the Nigerian governance in Nigeria will be effective and efficient. It is the reason why the golden phase of Nigeria's development is the First Republic, especially as typified by the near excellence of those regions. Right? So I don't know what you are talking about. That everybody has no. You are misunderstanding the problem I'm saying. Now you will have asked you add about restructuring or no restructuring, restoration back to federalism. That is the overarching subject. It is a systemic crisis we are in. That if you don't get it right, all other you can't build something on nothing. The security crisis we face in Nigeria today, almost all the parties have agreed, in large extent attributable to the structure of the police force or security forces that we have today. It's not a question about Agbado or engineering or what have you. Right? The federal government especially has been standing in the way of the progress of the constituent units. Right? When they said they take this over, you have another over concentration of power at the center. It's why some people call the president of Nigeria as the strongest, most powerful president in the world. You over concentrate powers at the center, and you have feebled the component unit. Right? That is not how Nigeria. There's no way Nigeria can survive. That's not the template. So you've got to address that. Before you go to health challenges, infrastructure challenges, there is a basis on which those ones are predisposed to failure. It is called dysfunction. Nigeria is not supposed to be governed the way it is being governed today. And every day we keep on proving that fact. Why is education or whatever it is in shambles? The federal government accumulates power onto itself indiscriminately. Therefore, you have all the governors of these states living more in Abuja than their own state. They're complete, unlike what the Constitution says, the original one, they have become completely dependent on the center. And I heard something that people were celebrating that the government is proposing autonomy of local government. Now, this is part of the problems that we have had. The federal government has no business with local government.
And those are the challenges.
It presupposes that 2 tiers of government, not 3 tiers.
And Mr. Shotokun, those are the challenges. Those are the challenges that you seek to address should your party become the ruling party in 2023. That's after the handover. Still on the matter of diversity, I wonder if your party has improved on its strategy, which is what I want you to speak to, at the height of the attention given your candidate when he became the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, the concern was how he was going to win northern votes, and many were disappointed that alliance with the NNPP was unable to materialize. Has anything improved from that point, especially now when political watchers are beginning to acknowledge that there's a possibility that the presidential vote may head into a second round after February the 25th? So what are the plans that your party has put in place to surmount this challenge?
I don't quite get the challenge you are talking about.
The concern about how your presidential candidate is going to surmount votes from the north, given the diversity of the country.
Addressing them by presenting himself, as superior to the other choices they have. Look, and which is in the open. Which is obvious enough anyway. I don't see any word. I don't want people may have their peculiarities, but I don't see how, objectively speaking, how a country, how an electorate can choose the candidate, the PDP and APC tickets over what we have in Nigeria today. As I said, you see, these are threats in the first place. Ab initio, they constitute themselves into threat to the national unity. So, I mean, there is nobody, and they're proving it over and over again in terms of the competence, in terms of energy, in terms of a ticket that speaks to the unity and stability of Nigeria. There should be no basis for people not to have a clear choice. But you have a community, I mean, a politics that is ridden with what we call dysfunction. The dysfunction of ethno-regional cleavages, in which people choose ethnic identity over what is really good for them in terms of governance. But as I said, I mean, that he has been addressing himself to, he has a record, to back it up. And people have seen what he is capable of achieving, as president. You see, we can even, contrast, the appearance of himself at the Chatham House invitation and that of the APC. That's one of we can draw the contrast. That which one of them is ready or more suitable, for what is happening. Look, Nigeria is in an existential crisis and we are at an inflection point. The good thing about Nigeria today is that...
Do you acknowledge the fact that elections are not won at Chatham House, they're not won on platforms such as this? Elections are won at the polling units. Let's break it down. How will your candidates win votes in core northern areas like Kano, like Katsina, like Sokoto? So what's the appeal that your candidate is taking to these areas such that he can harvest votes from these areas?
Then either you misunderstand or don't understand what I said. I'm telling you about where is areas, places where he has displayed superior competence and capability. And then, look, I don't expect you to put emphasis on whether is going to win or lose. Right? It's better to lose doing the right thing than to win doing the wrong thing. I don't know your own disposition to life. That's my own disposition. I'm not going to lay emphasis on, this is not the place to start saying you will win this, you will win that. He has a fighting chance. Those who contended or conducted polls have endorsed, have told us, the positions that he has. If he has challenges on account of political dysfunction within the country, he's doing his best, or we are doing our best to address it. But nobody is going. I'm not going to be obsessed about what even if it is what is wrong to do. I'm obsessed with winning, and that's why you said that politicians look forward to the next election. Statesmen look to the next generation. So we are not going, nobody is, the kind of cynicism inherent in the question you are making is what has taken Nigeria to this state.
So will your candidate get 25% in 24 states, or are you joining others to acknowledge that the presidential election will go into a second round?
I don't know what is going to happen. I can't see. We are working towards winning the majority votes and getting the required 25% in 2/3 of the Nigerian states. But by the way, as I said, it's only God. I'm not a seer, so I will not be able to see whether that will happen or whether there will be a runoff.
It'll be interesting to see eventually what happens on the 25th of February. But post 25th of February, after the winners have been, or winner, because there's only one winner. We hope that at the end of the day, the people of Nigeria will be the ones that ultimately win, that it is truly their own choice that will be reflected on the 25th of February. But I'm looking here at a tweet, and you do know that your supporters, I mean, lots of them express themselves using the social media handles. I'm looking at this tweet from Cheta, and he says, regardless of who wins I think he must have made this tweet a few days ago. He says, regardless of who wins in 18 days, Nigeria's next president will be undermined from various quarters from day one and will preside over a period of great social unrest. Says Nigeria's next president is likely to be the most hated man in the country's history. And I imagine that this is predicated on the difficulty, on the enormous challenges before us. There are no easy answers to the questions before us. What are some of the answers that your candidate is proffering to some of the very uneasy questions and some of the very uneasy challenges that lie ahead?
Well, you know, the most important thing really is signaling. You know, the signal that people get when a certain person is elected. President Muhammadu Buhari, let us be fair to him. When he was elected and started, you saw people in the Federal Secretariat, they were getting to their office at 7:30 a.m. Yeah, because he had that kind of reputation. And of course, I expect a similar thing that will happen here. If Peter Obi wins, then everybody are optimistic about the future of the country. And people will be ready to make sacrifices to, you know. Look, it's not the problems that matter. You know, it is your ability to grapple with that problem or crisis that matters. No society, you know, challenges and things are routine in human society. That is not, at the end of the day, that's not what matters. It's that capacity. Now look at Japan and all these countries that were devastated during the Second War. They are all now, and Germany, Japan, they are probably ahead of most of the other West countries in terms of modernity and technology and things like that. So the tweet you just read is right on the spot, that the task, the best Nigerian president has his task cut out for him. Yeah. They are so overwhelming that he's going to need somebody of the energy of Peter Obi and the running mate, that's to rise up to the field. But let me finish. Yeah. But their winning is going to excite the youth a lot. They are going to be excited by it and will be prepared to make the necessary sacrifice. But
excitement and reality are two different things. For instance, if they are so excited, assuming he wins, they will get the impression that things will be really good along the way. But we both know, for instance, the Naira is not going to go back to 100 Naira whoever wins. The economy will go back to what it was 10 years ago with whoever wins. Do you think they have that understanding that that is really the case?
Of course. I mean, you're just repeating what that guy has said. You know, that the problems are they are overwhelming. There's no doubt about that. And there is a likelihood that whoever imagines the poster is going to be unpopular in the short term, you know, because of what the steps you would need to take, to normalize the system. For instance, I expect the next president, even our own candidate, to remove fuel subsidy on the very day of week of month of coming to power. Now you realize, you know how people are going to react to it, you know, regardless of popularity in the short term. Whoever imagines the president, will be assuming that he has that vision and competence, will be compelled to take certain steps, you know, that initially will prove painful, but it is in the long-term interest of the country. The good thing is that you can see have his political capital. A newly elected president probably has 2-3 months of honeymoon, right, which he can exploit. You know, the political capital, he can use that, right, to set in motion the momentum of governance.
Even though they all say the same thing, that everyone who's contested always mean well, but at the end of the day, it becomes what it is. But we thank you for coming on. Mr. Akin Oshutokun is the Director General for the Obi Datti Campaign Council of the Labour Party. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. Same here.